house who thought she was deep cleaning and pulled her washer all the way out and all the hoses came off, and I'm like, whoa, that's why I don't deep clean.
She did that?
Yeah,
She's definitely deep cleaning it.
that was early.
All the water and everything.
My daughter started today
He's here, he just went ahead.
as the director.
There we go. There we go. You dodged a bullet there, Kevin.
And she was going early, and she was
all right.
almost there, and she got a call, there was
3
a
minutes.
fire.
Time's ticking. Still may have to open
She
it up.
sent me a picture that somebody took of it burning. Somebody set a box of bananas, a big box, on top of the stove, and stove caught on fire, and the box caught on fire, and the fire department come, and there was,
That's a mess.
yeah, all that stuff all over.
They almost kind of turn into a slime when they melt.
Oh, yeah. And they're oil and it makes
Yeah.
it really.
They just,
Aren't we having a fun day, Mr. Jason?
And the lady that was the director,
I'm not gonna do the normal. There's no better.
No.
Okay. Calls meeting order.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Fry,
Present.
Keating, Snellings. Present. Bikeman,
Present.
Baraki, Price,
Present.
Barons. Here. Drum.
Here.
7-0. We have a quorum.
Okay. First up, we have the approval of minutes from the meeting on May 9th.
Move to approve minutes, regular meeting, May 9th, 2022 as written.
Second. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Next, we have public comment. Is anybody here for 5-minute public comment? Yes?
Hello, Mandy Cook here to just update you about the Black Squirrels on Parade. I meant to get on your agenda. I apologize for that. I am in the process of getting the placements of the Black Squirrels on Parade that are on a city property. I know you've been asking Toby for that, and we are, I'm almost there. I'm going to actually ask Austin if he can meet and walk around with me maybe in the next couple weeks, and then I will come back to see you. Just as an update, we will be actually receiving the Black Squirrel statues hopefully by the end of May, if not the very beginning of June. So I guess I just wanted to give you the heads up, we're getting there, all of that good stuff. So that's all I really had to say, unless you all have any questions for me. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right. Anyone else here for 5-minute public comment? Okay, we'll move on to business and discussion items. First up, we have Audrey Pissel with Marysville Swim Team additional practice time. Hello.
Hello, thank you. My name's Audrey Pilsel, I'm Ward 4, I'm one of the co-coaches of the Marysville swim team. I don't know what I can give you other than what I submitted. We've worked in the past with management, but we've been asked to approach you guys for an additional practice time, the same time that we've been using for, I couldn't even tell you how many years now. We'd just like to make it official and get it into the paperwork so that we could have that additional time. Yeah, that's the word, thank you. Anyone have any questions or concerns for me?
I'll just start off, I'll be the bad guy. I'm not going to do anything with this until the pool's up and running and until we figure out swim lessons. That's where I'm at, because if I remember right, we have 3 flights of swim lessons that are gonna take about 3.5 hours.
At least. And
That's where the
right now
problems-
for 2 weeks.
So what time do you practice now?
What time have we been practicing, or what time is on the books that we're practicing?
On the books.
On the books is from 11:15 to 12:30.
So what time have you been practicing?
We have been using that time. We have also, and we've used that for our level 1 and 2 swimmers. We have also been practicing from 8:15 to 9:30 with our level 3.
But
so
that was
basic-
never approved, correct?
That was approved through management, but not approved through council.
Which they don't.
We were told in years past to just deal with management and get what we needed done, and that's what we've been doing.
And there's what's official, and then there's what's been practiced for so long that what's official doesn't, kind of gets put aside,
Right.
which is what's been going
Because I
on.
know when my kids were there, we had one practice for
Yeah.
everybody.
When my kids were 2, that's all they had was one.
How many kids were in swim, or just, and I'm not being devil's advocate, I literally don't know. How many kids were in swim team back then?
80.
Well, I understand the need to get, obviously, swim lessons figured out. I think everybody on council agrees that that's a valuable and important thing community-wide. I say this is probably the only person here who can't swim. So, that being said, I do think that, we've got a pretty good swim team for a town our size. I want to make sure we do what we can to support what they need. How close are we to having swim lessons sorted?
Well, we had them all called and everything, and then the pool got a leak. So it was gonna start the week before, so that we
It's
would.
supposed to be happening right now,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Yeah.
See, it wasn't gonna actually probably interfere with you guys, I don't think,
But now it will,
but now we have a problem.
because I can't use extended time, I can't use afternoons, which is what they were gonna kinda do, and
And then you're gonna make a decision based on a pool that's not full.
I don't know when the pool will be done.
And we don't either. We're trying to make a change in policy because that's what we have been told, this is what we need to do. Not just for this year, when we don't know what's going on, but going forward. And so we're trying to follow the rules that have been set forth in front of us, and follow them that way. So I don't know what else, the policy needs to be remedied with or without the pool. If we don't have a pool, we don't use the policy. But where it is right now is we are asking for for the safety of the kids that we've got. We need to be able to split them up.
And every year we should have swim lessons, so we'll run into it every year.
Right.
But if you have swim lessons before Memorial Day,
Which we normally cannot do because school's not out. This was a unique situation.
I'm not going, that's outside of my scope. I'm just looking for this. And if we can get the 2 practices and we can't start the second practice until a little later, at least it's on the books, and that's what we're looking for.
And if there's a way to make both things happen, I think obviously that's the way to go, but Also, I'm sympathetic to this, full disclosure, my daughter is on swim team. But I'm sympathetic to this because although it has been running afoul of official policy, it's been working. So I would be,
I
Not
wouldn't go there.
always.
There's a lot of
This-
managers it hasn't.
well, a
Always.
lot of managers is a whole different problem. The fact that you can say a lot of managers.
Okay.
But without diving deep into the ins and outs of the pool situation, I'm more in favor of remedying our policy to match reality rather than trying to shoehorn reality into a policy that I don't necessarily find 100% applicable. So that's my 2 cents. I mean, yes, we're in a unique circumstance because of the pool situation, but in general, I think it's good for us to try to make policy reflect reality.
So why was the policy like that originally?
I didn't draft it. Long
Who
before my
asked you
time.
to update the policy?
Austin,
Austin? Okay. To reflect what we've been doing?
what we've been doing.
over the
We
years.
have been, like I've stated, I'm sorry, I don't mean to reiterate, but we've worked, last year I worked with the manager, the year before I worked with that manager, the year before I worked with that manager. So we've worked with the managers as they've, cycled through and said, hey, will this still work for you? All those managers have agreed. So, but it's not on the books this way, so we're just trying to make sure that we can do it the right way, do it the way we're told to do it. As a side note, and it has really nothing to do with policy, but I went through and got my lifeguard certificate again. Been 30-some years, but I completed that this past weekend. So I'll be volunteering my time, so there will be a certified lifeguard at all the practices, which won't cost the city anything, because I've done that. So if you're worried about the cost of a lifeguard, that's not something that you have to
We don't
consider.
provide that.
No, that's,
So,
you guys carry your own insurance policies, so.
we do.
No, that was not the concern. Because if I remember right, they're also gonna try and do some of the swim lessons at the same time you guys have your original
They were.
practice.
No one's talked to me about that, so I don't know.
This was all gonna happen before you guys
Right.
started. And
Right.
it wasn't gonna interfere.
Right.
And that's the,
That went out.
And I understand that this year we need to be flexible. I mean, I'm not
right, and I.
deaf to that issue.
No, and I'm not trying to be a pain, Audrey. What I'm looking at is I don't wanna write us down this time, and then we're right back here again next year having another discussion about how to change it again.
Right.
Which it can happen, I understand that, but I just wish I could tell you, if the pool was filling full of water and we were warming it up,
Oh, I
I'd feel a
understand
lot
that.
better right now, but,
So your thought is kick the whole policy discussion down the road a year and then discuss it?
I'm trying to figure out how to make it work this year, and then figure out what's gonna work, so they can get their swim time in, we can get our swim lessons in, and not having swim lessons for 3 years, sooner or later, for the kids that don't know how to swim well, or they're not comfortable, they're not gonna join her swim team. That's the next problem you're gonna run into. Some kids that get that bitten by the bug of swimming in swim lessons probably have swam for you guys for God knows how long.
And
That's the reason
a
swim
lot of the
lessons are
lifeguards
very
are coming from swim team.
And that's one of the other reasons that swim lessons is really kind of important to me. Number one, I think everybody needs to know how to swim. Whether it be good swimming or just enough to save your butt when you need to, but. That's my only problem I have with this right now.
So the way I'm proposing it, there still is a 2-hour gap between our two practices where lessons could be occurring even during the 6 weeks that swim team happens.
But we've still gotta have time in there to clean
I
and get our
understand that.
chemicals right and all that too.
So that would only give us 2 levels of swimming. Because by the time you get them in, they swim for that 45 minutes. That's only 2 levels. if it's only 2 hours, which is,
I-
we have more levels than that.
I understand that, and I'm not here to fix the problem with the pool or the problem with swim lessons. If you wanna, if you
Right, I mean,
want
but-
my knowledge about that at some point, we can talk about it offline, but I'm just here, I don't wanna be
There's
outside of my
not enough
scope.
time, yeah. It's just
I don't wanna be
not
outside of my
enough time
scope.
for
If,
the swim lessons.
yeah.
So how'd we get by in the past?
We haven't had them for 3 years. I don't know.
No, prior to 3 years, how did we get by in the past?
There
I
was
have no
never
idea
swim
because we
less,
didn't
there
know
was
it was
never,
happening.
never swimming practice, was always at noon, over the lunch hour. That's the way it always was.
4 years ago, before. when
4
there were
years
swim
ago, when did
lessons.
we start doing the early practice? Do you remember?
6 years ago.
6 years ago.
There you go.
So we have had practices where someone is also teaching a lesson in a different part of the pool. We have also had someone, we have a 6-lane pool. If someone needs one of the lanes for a swim test, then we would move and use the 5 lanes so that there was an open lane during our time, even though, and that was during the 11:15 to 12:30 time, even though that was charted out for us, if one of the guards needed a lane, we moved.
Yes.
And we accommodated for that.
See, and that's not fair to them, because that was their time.
But
You
we,
know,
Swimming lessons only last a portion of our longer season, so we've never been,
and we want people to
against-
learn how to swim.
Exactly. So, I mean, if it takes because a lot of times when they get to those higher levels, level 3, 4, and 5, there's only a few kids that actually go and do that. Level 3 tends to be kind of where they went, it's good enough. And then a lot of parents don't put them through 4, 5, and up. So those groups are a lot smaller. If they need to come into the lap lanes, we've always been able to just, communicate, if you need us to move, we'll squish down a couple of lanes so you can get your test done, and then they're done, and then we fill the lanes back up. And we've just, or I try to find something, drill or something that keeps them closer to the wall for a little bit. Conditioning, up and out, stuff on the deck, things that will allow them to do what they need to do, and we're still having practice. We don't mind being flexible with swimming lessons. We always have tried to work with that.
Well, I guess does somebody wanna make a motion?
What is that?
I mean, I guess my thought is, we haven't had swim lessons for the last couple of years, which is unfortunate for a number of reasons. But if we can have all parties have flexibility, which obviously this year is gonna be needed in spades, then I don't see any problem with setting forth this policy, even if we have to revisit it in a year, even if we have to revisit it every other year, every year wouldn't be the first time. I still think it's been proven to, be functional. I think it just makes our policy match reality. So I'll make a motion to approve the request for the additional practice time with the caveat that there is flexibility to swim lessons in that second time, especially. If not, I wouldn't say priority space, but enough flexibility that they basically will be able to get out of the way for any swim lessons that are needed in those hours.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion?
So this additional time is basically for your younger swimmers to
So
get better, or
so
more time to work with them, or?
typically what we have done is we have done our level 3, which is like our high school kids. They're the earlier practice because they will get out of weights, they will come straight to swim. It's a good time for them there. If we're doing a butterfly practice, I can't even run 2 people in the same lane because I'm gonna hurt somebody. By the time you get your arms up, if you're doing it correctly, you're gonna hurt someone. And so that gives me the ability to spread them out. The smaller kids, the level 1 and 2s, those that are running the 11:15 to 12:30, their butterfly stroke isn't here yet, right? It's it's little. And so I can run, you know, a serpentine practice with a butterfly, but I can't do it with a high schooler. Their arms take up that whole lane if they're doing it properly. And if they're doing a breaststroke kick properly, I can't have two people side by side. It's just not safe.
They're kicking each other, and with backstroke, they are crashing heads. I mean, we've had close call with concussions before, trying to stuff too many kids in the lanes.
We're just trying to be proactive
And we're
about
trying
it.
to keep our team safe, really. So that's what the origination of these two practices were, was to keep the little kids from getting run down by stronger swimmers. Level 3 is not just limited to high school, but swimmers whose ability level is higher than their peers. You know,
The level
kids just don't, they're in the water, they're swimming, and, you know, they swim over the top of this little person who just, then they're under sputtering, and it just becomes dangerous, especially, you know, so we're just trying to eliminate that horrible potential.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question? Keith, does that answer your question?
I don't have any more questions, no.
Did that
You
answer your
answered my
question? Okay,
yes.
sorry, I just wanted to.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
5-2. All right,
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
we appreciate it.
Thank you.
okay. Next up, we have the alley closure at 8th Street to East, end of the Pony Express Museum on June 7th. With Toby. Hello.
Toby?
Hello. So the Pony Express Reride is taking place, begins June 6th in St. Joseph, Missouri, and they will be coming through Marysville. Their scheduled time is 9:15 a.m. on Tuesday, June 7th. The Pony Express Barn would like to have a fundraising breakfast in the alleyway there, if the weather allows, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Probably a little time for setup beforehand, so we'll be making our own breakfast and serving it out of the museum, and then a little bit time for taking tables in and taking chairs back inside the museum after the event. I've spoken with the Postal Service next door. We do not plan to have any setup as far east on that alleyway to be behind their parking lot. We'll be just where the end of the museum is. And the only time that would be something to want to watch out for is when the horse rider comes down through that alleyway, if they choose that path this year. And then I also spoke with the health equipment store across the alleyway from us, since they have probably the most traffic coming through there with deliveries, and also spoke with RX. So most of the people on the block are aware of our request and don't have any issue. And I told them if they see any issues while we're setting up and want us to change things around, we can do that as well.
Move to approve the request.
Okay, any further discussion?
Any chance to change your time from 7:30 to 10? For those people that have to be at work at 8?
We can deliver too also. We're planning to deliver breakfast. We can set you up with an early breakfast.
Delivery of our horse.
I'm just saying.
I actually agree with Keith. If you moved up, you'd probably get more people.
We have a meeting tomorrow, so we can discuss that.
It's just a thought,
Right.
because, yeah, everybody going
Going to work.
You know, have to go to work that early is gonna miss that breakfast.
You're not gonna take off the hour and a half to wait for the horse to come through?
Do what you have to do.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. It looks like we got you again with the Black Squirrel report.
Sure, and I've given you a written update. I just wanted the board to be aware of what the committee was looking at following our conversations that we had at the meeting, at our last meeting here, discussing the proposal for that October 22nd date. So we're kind of revisiting that as a committee, looking at some different options with musical entertainment and some other things like that. So that's kind of an update for you there. I I know the council had agreed to allocate $10,000 for marketing and for the T-shirt purchase, which the T-shirts have been purchased and are for sale. And then the remaining money, we may come back and ask for some different allocation that would be more geared to the event itself rather than strictly marketing purposes. So we will update you on that as we move forward with those plans. Any questions on that?
Thanks for the
All
report.
right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have ordinance 1905, rezoning 1065 Pony Express Highway.
Move to approve ordinance 1905, rezoning of 1065 Pony Express Highway.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any roll call?
Yep, roll call.
Roll call?
Fry,
Yes.
Keating,
Abstain.
Snellings,
Yes.
Beichman,
Yes.
Mackey's not here, Price,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Rom.
Yes.
So, 601.
601. Okay.
Okay. We do not have any notices and hearings. Under the, next we have the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, any discussion about any of the items on there? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Next we have appropriations ordinance number 3773.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance number 3773 in the amount of $332,975.84.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call?
Fry,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Snellings,
Yes.
Beichman,
Yes.
Gracky, Price,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Rom.
Yes.
7-0.
Next we have Austin with the staff report.
All right, the one thing that I have on my agenda is just an update on the Carolina storm sewer. I figured since there was a huge change, I'd give everybody, including citizens, a little bit of a report. Inline started work on the storm sewer on Carolina Street between 6th and 7th. After they removed most of the storm sewer that is intended to be replaced, they found that there was no obstruction where HydroClean LLC's report stated it was. After further inspection of the report, I asked the sewer crew to put our camera in the open end of the storm sewer to see if measurements were off, and we were just short of the obstruction. The camera found that the obstruction approximately 140 feet away from where the report from HydroClean said it was. When I took that information into consideration, it was clear that HydroClean switched the manhole numbers on the report, meaning we dug up the wrong side of the sewer line, resulting in more work needing to be done. I have talked with HydroClean about the situation, which we have not come to an agreement on. I have also started conversation with our city attorney if we would need to take it any further. I'm still emailing back and forth with HydroClean's representative. Currently, Inline is going to replace all the storm sewer between the two manholes on Carolina so that we can fix both the initial issue that we plan to fix and adjust the storm sewer for sanitary sewer service lines that go underneath the storm sewer. The additional cost is around $60,000.
I guess my first question is, do we need to take it any further?
I want to see if they want to come back with a settlement.
Okay.
Before we go that way.
Okay.
They were pretty, well, not pretty, they were talkative with me, willing to have a conversation. They admitted they did something wrong so far. So I'm in the middle of a discussion with them.
So looking at your map, I see on the left, I see a manhole cover, I guess, and then a red dot, green dot, and then maybe a manhole cover?
Yes,
So are we gonna go to that far right manhole cover?
yes, because the initial project, and one of the things that's not denoted on here is that, yes, the main thing that caught our eyes in the first video that we saw was the obstruction of a bored line through our storm sewer. The second important thing was on the other end of their video when they tried to go back and see the other side of that because the video had stopped and they wanted to come from the other manhole, was that the storm sewer was offset coming from the other way. So we thought it was coming so that west portion, 104 feet is what the number was from that west manhole, which is manhole 35. That's the portion we initially were working on. Now, with when we figured out the obstruction is actually 104 feet away from manhole 425, that was the mirror that we're doing. Some other complications came up in the middle of it, which made us take the whole line into consideration for replacement.
It kind of makes sense too, because I would think underneath that rail bed there.
Yeah, it makes a lot more.
Yes.
Makes a lot more sense.
Oh, yeah.
The jiggling and the.
Well, a lot of things lined up for that initial video. When we went out and measured it 5 different times, just to make sure, yeah, there's that pipe that's right here, and it just like everything lined up, that what that obstruction could be. And the fact that we didn't have the means to get in from manhole 35, but we'd already paid somebody to do that. So it was the stars aligning for a mistake to happen. If they had made one more miscalculation on their sheet, we probably would have caught this. But everything was like manhole 35 to manhole 425. That video was going from here to there. So or vice versa. So we went in there and everything was checking out on the surface. We didn't have the ability to go inside and check it out. So that is any other questions on that?
You got a pretty good feel for them working with you on this, or how are you feeling about that?
Well, like any company that has been accused of doing wrong and being asked to pay for something, they're taking their due diligence in countering my conversation. But when they've admitted they've done something wrong, and some things keep piling off on top of it, I think we got a pretty good case. Now, that's more discussion for me and him to go through if it comes down to that.
So I'm gonna ask the question.
Yes.
How much confidence do we have in them on the highway now?
Here's
I don't have a lot.
I talked to the tech that went through, well, the person who actually did the video doesn't work for them anymore.
Of course.
Yes.
Why not?
And I talked to another tech, which was not the guy I'm talking to right now. And he went back through the data. He did find some other mistakes and corrected them. They are going to supply, and there's 6 locations that he could tell that maybe something off. 3 of them he confirmed, 3 he's working on trying to confirm those issues. So they're willing to work on that side of it. So that's great that they could actually go back and see that. So I'm judging by the fact that not as many of obstructions. There's a couple. This was the big one. Like, this was it. There's a pipe over in the big storm sewer on the highway, that's, obstructing about that much of. And then there's one that goes right through the big one, and you could tell the water line doesn't even get up that high. So it's not causing issues right now. Probably needs to be fixed eventually, and depending on what it is, it could be easy to fix, could be having to ask Kansas Gas to remove stuff, which is not easy. Well, I mean, it's easy for them, but, yeah.
I know about 4:30 when I went by, I had to stop at Cromie's and they had found another sewer line.
And Kevin worked with us on that.
Is it?
Yeah, he decided to abandon it.
But like I said, they didn't know if it was a floor drain or
It's
or
to,
exactly what it was.
well,
in that
he's got
building.
a toilet flange in that end shop.
Okay.
Because it used to be the scale. Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be the old SS&T ground.
So that's what we're thinking it is. There still is a chance there's another sewer connection in there somewhere. Now where it goes to, I don't know, but we're finding those, and
Like I say, there can't be too many more left along there after we get
No.
there, I wouldn't think.
There's one big item left in this trench.
Oh, I know. Whatever that line is that goes through it.
that's where we just go, oh, yeah, it's MCI, but.
MCI cable.
Yeah,
Oh, the fiber
the
cable?
fiber optic
Yeah,
cable,
it's-
yep.
It's a big cable.
Kansas City doesn't need internet.
That,
Runs right next to the,
been there.
runs right next to the
Long,
Forever
railbed.
and ever. So I am definitely working on getting at the very least, a settlement on that. If not, I've already clued him in on everything, so. Any other questions on that? I do, just a reminder, we have our budget workshop on Thursday at 6 o'clock here. I gave you all your workshop agenda. I was hoping to give you enough time to review it, so hopefully you guys get a chance.
This
You're not
week,
feeding us, are you?
Do you want fed?
I just need to know.
I can get some pizza. I'll get some pizza.
There you go.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Last time I ordered it, it took an hour and 45 minutes.
I'll get it
Wait
from,
15 minutes last night,
which one?
Pizza Hut.
Oh, no, they've
Then they
kind
fixed it.
of cut back up.
Okay.
I was gonna
I was
send
like, what hour do you want me to order that for?
We could do Casey's too, so. Casey's is good pizza.
Anyway.
Okay. All right, nothing else from me.
No other updates?
Nothing, no.
Right, move on to the standing committee reports. First up, street. Do you have anything on street?
yeah, I got a crazy question.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Fuel oil and everything else has went sky high. We already accepted a bid from Paul Brothers on 16th Street and 11th Road.
Right?
Are they locked into that, or are they gonna
We
come back
accept-
and
we
catch us on it, or what?
If we didn't, I would be more hesitant if they had it on the table and we hadn't accepted it yet. They haven't said otherwise. Now, I haven't asked that question either.
Okay, just curious, 'cause, I know we bid it and we accepted it and everything went to them and then everything went crazy.
What's going off of what you're saying, let's talk about street sealing.
Okay.
Gonna be able to get done,
Has it went crazy too, or do we know?
or are we gonna lose a bunch of blocks because of how much oil's gonna cost?
Well, we haven't checked the price. We still need patching material to get that. So I don't know what the price is right now.
Right, I know that we're normally a couple months off from sealing, but what I'm looking at is we may have to reevaluate what is more important to get sealed this year if we can't get what we wanted to get done.
Right. Well, we can work it to make it work, if that makes sense.
Well-
If we need to, we can pull from, if we're trying to get stuff done, we can pull from sales tax. Cause sealing, since we've dropped it down to 2 sealing routes, is not as impactful as our normal 5 that we used to be doing. And we're already set it up. It's not, I'm hoping it's not hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's, usually ends up being 90. I think that's 5 routes right there, 90.
I already paid for the haydite.
You paid for
Yeah,
the
you,
haydite.
the chips are here, that's
Chips
the
are already here.
The big issue is that we can't, Hall Brothers isn't making patch material, so we can't patch, because they're ready to seal.
Well, here's the big deal. I watched Fox News today, and they're trying to figure out how to get double digits on fuel pumps now. So with that being said, and fuel does get that high, I would think that sealing and getting oil as quick as we can and getting it down would be a top priority.
It is, and like Cindy was saying, the issue is that we can't get the patching material, that fills the bigger holes. That's our, if we had the patching material, we'd be sealing. We'd probably already sealed by now.
We'll go to Manhattan and pick it up from Shell.
Nobody's making the patch material. He said, the Hall Brothers was making it at Inman and out of the Concordia plant, and they said, we'll drive to Concordia, and they said, we won't give it to you, we're using it ourselves.
Okay. Can't remember what it's called. There's patching material that comes in blue bags.
There is, and it's real
Cold patch.
expensive.
Cold patch.
Is it just called cold patch?
It's stuff we can use over the winter, and that's what it's
Yeah,
made for.
I knew
so,
we used
so
it
we
over
can,
the winter, but I didn't know if it would work in this situation.
It's not it's
I'm coming,
it's
I'm
not the
trying
best case
ideas.
scenario. It's basically paying for it, and
Oh, as much as I hate to say this, is there any asphalt plants in Beatrice or Lincoln?
that's
I mean, I don't like our guys having to drive that far to get it. That drives me crazy.
right.
But
Sources. Okay, we will definitely. We want to
At
get.
least
That, we
check.
do want to get that done.
Yep.
at least check.
Yeah. No, we're ready to seal as soon as we can patch.
Heard anything from AHRS when they're gonna finish last year's curb and gutter work?
No, I haven't heard anything from that. I'm actually surprised I haven't, but
Okay, guess they're another thing to check on.
Yeah.
Another thing to check on.
right.
Weather's nice, we can get going.
They have a lot of homes in the fire.
Not my problem.
Okay. Anything else on street? No? Water and wastewater?
Heard anything from, engineers on the lagoon or anything lately?
Yes, we are, KDHE is questioning us on our design, right now. We're in that phase where they're asking us sizes and all that stuff. So once that gets cleared, they've been doing surveys, they've been crunching the numbers. Our water, our inflow to the lagoons has been down in the recent years. And it could be, one of the biggest reasons is the maintenance we've been doing on our sewers, our lining.
Right.
And when a couple of years ago, I was asking these questions, okay, lining, that's gonna get rid of the inflow? And then the comment was made, well, that's also gonna keep your sewer in there. So it's like a give and take sometimes, but it looks like, at least at this point, is that our preventative maintenance has helped our situation out extremely well. That the reduction in the amount of sewage that's going out there is being reduced. Yeah, is looking like I&I is being reduced, and
Good.
which is great. It means our work is paying off. But the numbers are being, like I said, numbers are being crunched, the surveys have been done, or are still being
I
done.
know they were here pretty hot and heavy for a long time, and
Yeah.
then they've just like disappeared.
Right, because I got the numbers, so there's a chance, I mean, we were looking at, because one of the questions was, from KDHE, do you maximize everything right now? Because, if you build that lagoon cell out there, that's probably it. Whatever size you make it, you're not building anymore because you're landlocked. If you're doing something else, you're building the lagoon cell somewhere else. So whatever size you make that, you better think of that future. And they were looking back at our previous, numbers, and they were pretty high. And they were questioning, whether we were making it big enough.
Now we're sitting in a drought, so that's helped a lot in our I&I getting in there too, so.
Right. So those are discussions we're questioning. I mean, we were initially talking about as small as a 12-acre, and you can go up to an 18-acre pond on that for a new first cell. So, I mean, if anything, we could probably go in between that if we wanted to. There's also a discussion of, initially we talked about putting a lift station at the river to get it over there. Well, we already have a pipe going underneath that serviced or came from the old wastewater treatment plant.
Right.
Possibly using that, possibly installing manholes and basically making it a gravity flow without a new lift station saves us $500,000.
That would be nice.
So that's good.
So if that's possible, because he was talking about, to make that possible, you gotta run a second tube to make a siphon. I'm not an engineer.
Still might, if it's just piping, though, that might be better off than having mechanical pumps that you've got to replace and maintain.
So that was a positive on that side, which means we could just, if we save $500,000, we spend that $500,000 on dredging out the lagoon, number one. So, we're looking pretty good right now, from the outset.
Anything else on water, wastewater? Parks and Rec? We did have a committee meeting last week to talk about the pool hours. And there's kind of a summary of what the committee discussed and what their recommendations were. I mean, the problem is everybody's aware of, we don't have enough guards, and we're not having any luck really finding more guards. And it sounds like we've got a couple less than what we thought we had now.
Say how many guards we have confirmed.
Well, one of the 7 already quit, so that's 6, but I got one more, so back to 7.
Okay.
I think I have 7. Some of them are 15, which of course means they can only work 40 hours a week. I think it is.
That's what it is.
So I think, I gotta look, I brought that along.
So you're down to the 4 additional guards you had applied, or you still got 5?
I've got 7, including
We got 7 guards, that's it.
including the manager, but I think I got one more, so that'd be 8. I have some that were supposed to be, 3 of those were supposed to recertify. They've not given me their thing, so I don't know if they got it or they didn't. And I had 3 more who were gonna certify. I will tomorrow morning I have a meeting with the guards with anybody who's gonna work at the pool at 10:30. That will tell me exactly if they've got those certifications, because that was, one of them told me she was still gonna go. That was on Friday when I talked to her. She was still gonna go, I don't know where. If, one of them that said that she was gonna guard for us, and then when I called to tell her the meeting was, she said, well, I'm not gonna guard anymore. I said, well, would you come part-time? So I might be able to get some of them to help out on weekends or a day here and there. But it takes like 7 guards at a time, or 7 people rotating, not including what's in concessions and admissions. So working them I can't work them 7 days a week, I can't do
No.
that. So that's why our conclusion was that we needed to close one day, and in looking at which day was the slowest, it was Monday. So that kind of was what we came down to, that if we would close one day a week, that would help.
You're still gonna talk to the guards about that, right?
No, we already
We
did.
kind of did, and most
Okay.
of them said Monday.
Okay.
I mean, I'll ask again, there was one who wanted Tuesday instead of Monday.
Well,
I
so
mean,
the
you have to
rest,
do what the majority wanted, and that was a 3-year, the Mondays, because we keep admissions here, you know, the numbers, and that was the last 3 years, Mondays were the slowest, so. That's where Monday came from.
Yeah.
Or what Lakeviews' busiest day for ball,
Wednesday.
Wednesdays?
I believe that's T-ball and blast ball night and all that.
Oh, yeah,
Probably
yeah.
gonna
Oh,
see a
it's-
lot of kids stuff be there after 4 maybe, or 5.
Could be, but that's free swim night,
Oh, yeah, it's also free swim.
Yeah.
that's why.
That's the anomaly. It's not a very busy day. And then at Wednesday night, everybody comes because it's free, and which is great.
Yeah.
I do.
And it's just not our pool here.
No, it's,
There's 3 of them in Omaha, Nebraska that's not opening this year.
Oh, not at all?
Not at all. Because they do not have lifeguards there either.
Right.
My daughter sent me the article.
In all fairness, when I was in school, there's 133 in my graduating class, and there's 54 now. So
Yeah.
we've got 2/3 less kids to pick from.
yeah. So we gotta do a motion on the pool policy to let 14-year-olds work there.
All the
Yes, or
above.
at least make an exception for this year.
Wow.
They can only work concessions, they can't use ovens and those kinds of things, but they can clean,
can do-
take admissions.
Admissions, concessions,
And
and
cleaning.
help clean.
Yep, absolutely.
And I say if the 14-year-olds wanna work, let them work.
Well, that's reason that.
I got 3 of them that came
I'm
in, and a
just,
4th one coming.
Yeah.
So you need a motion for taking Monday off. You need a motion for 14-year-olds.
You want all these separate motions?
Well, do you want the 14-year-olds to be a permanent policy, or do you want it to be just this year?
This year.
Okay,
I
if
would
it's
say
just this year and the day off is just this year, then they can be in the same motion,
Okay.
unless you guys want to discuss them separately.
You guys
But-
okay with the same motion? Cause I don't
I
wanna.
think it's an administrative function.
Well, it's a policy. so
Separate
Yeah,
way
it's-
that the
it's a-
it is a
pool thing
policy.
works.
Well, the age is a policy, but the hours are.
No, the hours are policy as well.
Policy, yeah.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
It's all policy.
Well, I make a motion that we allow the 14-year-olds to work.
Okay.
And in the same policy, we also take Mondays off of this year
For 2022.
for 2022.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Did you say the slides and boards?
Oh, and the
close at
slides and
7?
boards.
Okay, I'll add to that motion that the slides and board will close at 7 o'clock. So we can get some more cleaning done and still get out on time.
Because the 15-year-olds, yeah.
You concur with
Fine,
that?
concurred with the second, yes.
Sorry, sorry.
No problem.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0.
So is there an update on the pipe?
They are scheduled to come tomorrow morning. Now, if it's storming, I don't know if they're gonna be able to do it, but, we have a plumbing company coming in tomorrow morning, to fix that.
Is it the Kansas City company or is it somebody else?
Lexington Plumbing.
We have enough excavated out of there.
Yes, the guy came in on Wednesday, yes, Wednesday came in, spent 2 to 3 hours at our pool, told us exactly how he wanted everything. We already had a partial hole out at that point in time, and he said, take it back to there. He also, looked at some other things, took a piece of our boiler, because it had rusted out, so they could weld it back together, took it back to Kansas City, get that fixed. And so, yeah, I believe we are as prepared as they asked us to be.
Okay.
Right, anything else on Parks and Rec?
Yeah, I had something.
Yeah.
It was brought to my attention that there is a possible funding mechanism via the county for, improvements to parks. My county commissioner, I think everyone here is county commissioner now I'm thinking about it, brought to my attention, that there might be some funding available for projects. Part of the idea being maybe, I know there's been people talk about Dargett's Park, not getting some love. It's very well used. I mean, arguably our best or most used park, especially by kids in the neighborhood, a lot of families and stuff I see there on a regular basis. I'm not on the Parks and Rec committee, but I wondered if that was something that Parks and Rec committee wanted to explore.
Yeah, no problem exploring it.
So I'm just bringing it to, who's the chair of the Parks and Rec committee?
There are chairs.
Who's the leader of the Parks and Rec committee?
Not really.
We don't have leaders.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, there's always leaders. Where there's people, there's leaders.
Okay, you wanna go that route? What do you have in mind that you want done there?
Well, I know things have been discussed, well, okay, so I'll say the backstop ball areas could use a little love. There's a derelict, water fountain on the north side. There could be shade area.
We had a group, a year or two, that came and they were wanting to fundraise to do some
class.
work on some of that, one of the classes. And
98 or?
80
yeah,
something.
I never heard anything more.
We approved it, but never did anything.
Yeah,
So nothing came of that.
No.
Okay.
no, I haven't heard anything else since then.
No. They wanted to put up take down a basketball goal and put up a shade structure and fix up the ball fields to make them look professional, better, clean cut. I remember that.
Well, I know, like, awnings have been discussed as far as, I mean, it can bake out there. A lot of people do hide out under that shelter on the east end.
Yeah, and we've been trying to plant more tree. We planted a
Right,
tree
they did plant,
like
we did
last
plant
year for
trees in
Arbor
there,
Day,
but of
and-
course, that takes a few
It
years.
takes a little
It takes
time
a
for 'em
while,
to get
yeah.
big.
If you want an honest opinion, the Dargett's Park, and maybe the other parks, but specifically Dargett's Park, probably needs more than just a piecemeal, because we've tried that. It needs to be spread out, or at least designed a little bit differently. It needs more attention than just, let's replace this piece of equipment.
Right.
But comprehensive improvement plan?
Yeah. Sort of a master plan.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
So maybe that's what that Parks and Rec committee should be putting together.
yeah. So, that's just my opinion, because I've tried to look at it, and it's, because you got some antiques that maybe you want to keep around, maybe you don't, maybe you want to find a museum for
Well,
them.
we've got the horses that
That's what I'm
insurance
saying.
company
The
always
insurance,
kinda wants to get rid of. and-
they've left us alone for the
Yes.
past couple of years, but only because they gave us a threat. Said that anything happens to that, to somebody's finger or something like that, they're gone, and they kinda,
But some of the kids, those are the things they love.
oh, I know,
Oh, I know,
I know.
but
But-
they are a little dangerous.
But the biggest thing is worrying about somebody walking in front of you.
Yeah, and getting slammed,
Getting
which
hit
happens.
by
yeah.
metal, but you get hit by somebody's shoe, it's.
But like,
Some of us are a little tougher
Yeah.
than others.
you got a whole big playground area, and then you got a slide that kinda intervenes with everything, and they wanted a kid's swing, so we put it in where it was available, and it's kind of a cluster over there, and, yeah, just an idea. I think we shouldn't just blindly go at it and go, oh, I love this piece of equipment, let's put it in there and take that out, and then have it all clash.
We need one
You
of
can
those
move it back down to City Park, that's where it came from.
we need one of those merry-go-rounds where you pump, with your legs
Yeah, I
and stuff.
do.
And you can
Yeah.
throw people in
Those
the
are
outer
fun.
orbit.
Yeah, those-
We still got one out by us.
Yeah, there is.
There's one in Hanover Park. I don't know why their insurance carrier hasn't harped on them yet. But it's not my
They
problem.
were fun, but yeah, you always had a broken bone every once in a while.
You get 4 good
I might have a
kids
scar on the
that.
back of my head.
There's one
Parks and Rec.
in the park.
So we can set up a Parks and Rec committee to talk about that.
Yep.
After the workshop.
Yep.
Yeah, Not directly after the workshop,
Immediately following?
but immediately following. No, no, thank you.
No go, huh?
Anything else on Parks and Rec?
I got a complaint. The
Yep.
dog park apparently hasn't been mowed. Didn't go down there by today, but, yeah. Somebody asked me who was supposed to take care of that, and I didn't know the answer to
It was supposed to be
that.
volunteers, but that,
So,
yeah.
FYI. He said the grass is pretty high down there.
It was supposed to be volunteers, I believe, but yeah, we figured it would
I think that
probably.
was one of our concerns.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
That was a
was.
big
And
concern.
the bars.
So I
Yeah.
recommend the volunteers get lots of mowers. I remember
I know somebody with goats.
I remember somebody being here that night, and he assured us it only takes 45 minutes. So, best of luck to him. Because we assured him that it takes a lot longer than that. And since we're gonna talk about mowing, and we're on parks, I'm not near as worried about the dog park as I will be about the cemetery this week.
Mhm.
Now, them guys have done good jobs in the past, they've done some great jobs. I know we have rain coming, but,
They were weed eating it all. In fact, they took 2 street guys
Okay.
to go over and weed eat it.
but you know what I mean?
Yes.
This is kinda like the one day this year that it really cannot fail.
Yeah.
Yep, nope.
Okay.
They knew their priorities and
Well,
got
no,
on the
they-
cemetery today.
They've done some great jobs, and I have to admit, that cemetery looks dang good with all the flags in it and the whole 9 yards.
And they aren't into the flags on the bridge yet. I mean, that's all that same,
I
those
know, and
guys.
it's gonna be a hard week with,
So, yeah.
with the rain coming in,
Cemeteries and
so.
I haven't done it and it's supposed to rain.
I'll tell you, they're watering the grass so they can put the crosses in.
Yeah.
That's what there's, I mean,
Yeah.
they're definitely thinking ahead. They're doing a
Yeah.
great job, but it's, yeah.
The ground's so hard right now.
Well, the range.
Well,
Yeah, we hope.
Right, anybody else have anything on Parks and Rec? Cemetery and Airport? Police and Fire? Admin and Finance? I guess the only thing in Admin and Finance would maybe be, did everybody have a chance to go through some of the land bank information?
I
Supplemental or not?
I haven't got through it all.
I gotta admit, I didn't either. I got through
There's a lot.
like Columbus and that was about it.
Yeah, and it's riveting reading, let me tell you.
Yeah, exactly. It's not,
I actually went to each one of those cities'
Yeah.
websites,
Uh-huh.
and it's a great idea, but it's also an arm of a very progressive economic development plan. If you really dive into it, so that's the only comment I have there.
And I'm wondering, you know, with our city, some of the lots and stuff that we have, the lots themselves are not big enough to sustain buildings that we have.
Not with the current.
Not with the current
Yeah.
setbacks that we have.
Right.
where I could see it would be beneficial is like in the past when we've had a blighted structure or dilapidated building and we've gone and condemned it and it's gotten taken down and then you're waiting 2 or 3 or 4 more years until it gets enough years that it goes to the county sale, that maybe that individual could donate that to the land bank and you could turn around and get that in somebody else's hands in a quicker period of time and not have the back taxes and stuff on it that we usually don't ever
Don't
see
generally get
anyway.
yeah.
So that's the main thing that I could see that could be beneficial. I don't know how many lots this would even involve, but it would just be another tool that we could use. Yeah, well, some of them probably, I mean, if they knew that they were just gonna get stuck with another tax bill and nobody was gonna, I could see where.
They don't pay the taxes in the end anyways, it don't
Well,
matter.
I know, but they might be willing to just
How about,
dump it on the city, I guess, and get rid of it.
if anything, how about maybe July when things calm down a bit again, that we, sit down and have a discussion as the
Yeah.
admin finance committee about that a little bit.
Okay.
I just know I, don't pay attention because I'm usually the one driving, but that building on 10th Street's really getting to look really bad.
Yep.
There's, I think I counted 7 windows out of it
Yeah.
now.
I never
we've had it
noticed
when
the
these-
big window was broke.
It's been duct
That's
taped
been
for a long time, but I think the wind finally took that.
I'm sitting there thinking when I saw that today, how many animals are living in there?
Still pieces of it blowing into my yard half a block away.
Oh, well, they're-
Well, you're getting it picked up one piece at a time.
Okay, anything else on admin and finance? There are no appointments. John, do you have anything for us?
Yes, we're circulating agreements with the city administrator on the apartment building.
Okay.
And I wanted him to look at it, get some feedback on the initial agreement with the First Commerce Bank. And reaffirmed with First Commerce, we still have a deal. We're just drafting it up.
Okay.
Also finished another agreement, interlocal agreement with the Board of County Commissioners. I was checking on the AG's approval. I'm not sure if it's necessary for this type of agreement, but I need to do one little check before I circulate it to the city administrator for comment. I would tell you, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 taxes are delinquent now. The approximate taxes and accumulated interest is $13,006 and continues to grow. So we're moving forward with that. I wanted to bring to the attention tonight, I'd like to, and I talked to the city administrator about it today, is let's refresh the bids and proceed with demolition. And then the county, or the city has until, my reading of the statute is until August 25th to submit the special assessment to the county clerk for placement on the tax rolls and make it a lien on the property. And from there, assuming the interlocal agreement with the county is approved, still hasn't been approved, we can file the tax foreclosure. I probably will couple that with the foreclosure similar to what Lawrence, Kansas is doing, and just to make sure the city's lien has a first priority in there. And so we got some things cooking on that. And one thing I know I've talked to, I think, the mayor or the city administrator about the one window. If we just get one window boarded up, I think that'd make a major improvement. The one that's first floor, the big one.
The big one.
I don't think, the concern last time was to board up every window. Let's get the big ones, the most attractive nuisance, the most dangerous ones. I think we can get a board or get some free lumber somehow. I think we talked about that too, to board that, at least that big one up and shut it up a little bit.
Okay, we can do that.
Would it be possible to somehow fence off, snow fence or otherwise, that steps that goes up to that central courtyard area? The reason I ask is I've seen police activity over there twice in the last month, so maybe.
We sent them.
Because they're checking.
We
on
sent
something.
them.
Great, but
It's been condemned and the answer is yes.
I just thought maybe that would be easier than if we had messing with some of the upper windows.
Right, the one way to create an obstacle is through fencing, whether or not people go in over the fence.
Sure.
Yeah. But at least gives a warning sign.
Dissuades them, maybe.
And if we do the bids, can we put, it has to be done by a certain time?
Yes,
Well,
yes, we
it's-
can.
Yeah, we need it done before August
Well,
25th.
what I'm saying is like 90 days after the bid's accepted, something like that.
Okay.
And just put that out known, so then whoever's doing it know that we're not gonna wait 6 months for it to
We
be
don't
done.
even have 90 days.
Probably
We're
not.
pushing it,
25 to August 25th.
I don't know how you're gonna get this down and on the August thing.
We'll try our best.
Yeah.
Well, that one company did take a grain elevator down in about a week's time.
Oh, wow.
And that's
And
a big wow.
their equipment's in town, so.
Did you see that water tower they took down at Alma? Yeah. The guys were running as it was falling.
He's up there with like a torch cutting the last little inch for the rain.
Sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you have to be a cartoon.
I'm working on a taxing district, and I got a call into an attorney who I know has done special districts. I got some ideas, but I like the practical experience sometimes better than, guessing by golly. I'm also working on a memorandum of understanding, still in progress, sorry, for requirements of location black squirrels in a right-of-way. So that's kind of where we're at on those. The major project's been the Murphy building. Any
How much
questions?
longer do you think till we kind of get something
Well,
solid on that so we can?
I think Monday I'm gonna start, well, once the city administrator has a chance to, and the clerk has a chance to look at them and comment, change them, cut them up, change them, we're sending them out.
Okay.
So it's hopefully back in 2 weeks when your next meeting is.
Actually, we have 3 weeks to the next one. It's June
Do we?
13th.
June
Wow.
13th.
And then refresh the bids and hopefully get company with the equipment can take it down.
Anything else?
I think, no, not really, no.
Okay. Round table. Todd?
Yeah, I forgot to bring it up on the street part. There's some really specifically bad sections of curb and gutter in some places around town. This morning kind of came to my attention on South 15th Street, on the east side. I mean, it's like water's getting underneath and actually eroding out underneath the road surface and the curb and gutter there. Do we have I know we have lots of lists. Do we have a list of these high priority ones?
That is one, I believe, that AHRS is supposed to.
Is that one of them?
That's one of them.
Okay.
That was a last year project.
That's okay. That's what I thought. I mean, there's some sections on North Street that are pretty bad. A lot of places where we've put cold mix in and kind of, we're keeping the water from getting underneath the surface, but it's a temporary solution. So that one was so bad, I literally about fell in a hole when I was running by there this morning. So thought
That's
good to know we're going to tackle that one.
Yep.
That's all I had.
Okay. Nothing. Lori? Keith? Parker?
Nothing tonight.
I had somebody stop by my house, about the food pantry. There's a storm sewer in front of it. And when they redid all that concrete work out there, that storm sewer sits up, I have pictures if anybody wants to see it. And they live across the street and they were saying that like 4 vehicles have lost tires on that thing.
Are you talking the one, you're not talking the manhole, are you, or where are you talking?
No,
There was a manhole that sunk out there at that intersection a couple years ago.
And I think it, supposedly from what he said, Chad Rhodes spray painted it red because everybody keeps hitting it and busting their tires. Yeah.
Well, it's probably because, I mean, people pull up there and they're getting close to the curb, which they normally wouldn't going around the corner quite like that.
You can flip through and there's a couple more pictures too. The other way.
You messed it up.
I messed it up. Here. I don't know how to run an iPhone.
You just took a picture.
I went to hand it to him and I hit the side button
I
and
know, but-
it locked up and did whatever.
Huh? Yeah, there's a couple
Looks like
more
a standard
pictures.
catch basin.
Yeah. But I think the problem started when they totally redid that and put all new concrete out there, and that sticks up so far.
I'm assuming that they're cutting it close to the curb and they're dropping it,
Yeah.
dropping down in there, I'm guessing.
It doesn't.
I said I'd bring it up.
Yeah, people look at it. I just don't think there's anything you're gonna do.
Yeah, I didn't think there was anything they were gonna do either,
Don't
but
drive over the manhole.
but supposedly Chad spray painted it red,
Yeah.
so.
Don't drive over the manhole.
Actually, that's catch basin.
Catch basin.
Yeah. Don't drive over that.
Yeah.
It's a hole in the ground that's meant to be there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a hole in the ground that's meant to be there.
There you go.
So, I've told,
Okay. And we did not do that concrete work, if that's what affected it.
no,
No.
somebody else, I don't know who did it.
They hired it out
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
I have nothing, sir.
Nothing?
What the heck?
I thought something else.
You've
Sit next to you
exhausted your
tonight.
time. You've exhausted
Pick
your
one.
time.
I'm circled, round table, around.
Round, it
goes
keeps
around.
going round and round, oh, we're in trouble now.
I saw one of the other communities in our county has the first, electric charging station, a different town that ends in Ville.
Yeah.
I think it's embarrassing that we don't have anything on that yet, and it's been kicked around a couple times in the last couple years. Where are we at on trying to do something like that, especially maybe
Well, there was
downtown?
supposed to be that
I just,
grant
well,
and-
nothing's happened on any of the free portions of it. The last time I tried to ask for a quote, nobody wanted to give me a response. And I did that on my own, like, I wanted to see if they'd still were $6,000 a piece, sort of thing, cause I'm with you on that.
People that supplies the electricity to Waterville is who put that
Yeah, I
in
know,
mind.
and good for Waterville for 100%, but
Yeah.
I think, you know, it'd be really nice to have that, especially downtown. I think
yeah.
you'd be
All
surprised
Evergy.
how many people we
No, I've called
catch.
it.
And even, here's what I'm saying is, even if it did cost us a little money up front, if it's something, a feather in our cap for advertising to get people downtown, you know,
We
good
just never put it in.
press.
Well, you would think there'd be some grant, I mean, I know that they've, on the federal level, passed
Where did they put them off?
different laws that have had money.
The they did it on I-70, and they put it at all the rest stops.
Stops, yeah.
Abilene got they got one of the last grants, but that was so specific to Abilene and different things that I couldn't get that.
I'd hate to see it where Seneca and Washington get stops and then people don't stop here.
I think we're at the point that they don't even look at 36 for things yet. They haven't looked here yet.
But we're uniquely situated because not only are we on 36, we're also on 77. So between Manhattan and Lincoln,
Doesn't Seneca's Hotel already have one? They had one earlier.
They don't have a charging station. They have so actually our city park is advertised as an EV charging
Yeah, it
station.
is on
But it's
some
just
websites.
plugins.
Instead of a station,
It's
they
just
got
just
a, they
220
got a
outlets.
cord.
Yeah, it's
that you
just
can pull up to.
Okay, oh, I didn't know.
Because you just plug your own cord into and you're good to go. I think if we just go out and get quotes, I would hope they're giving quotes. I mean, they're another thing that requires chips,
Right.
and it's probably they're behind the times.
But it doesn't cost anything to get a quote.
No,
Yeah.
no, I will.
Cool. So that's it, until you come back around again.
All right.
Go again.
Anybody else have anything? Okay, I do. I have a poppy proclamation. Whereas America is the land of freedom, preserved and protected willingly and freely by citizen soldiers, whereas millions who have answered the call to arms have died on the field of battle, whereas a nation at peace must be reminded of the price of war and the debt owed to those who have died in war, whereas the red poppy has been designated as a symbol of sacrifice of lives in all wars, and whereas the American Legion Auxiliary has pledged to remind America annually of this debt through the distribution of the memorial flower, therefore I, Jason Barnes, Mayor of the City of Marysville, Kansas, do hereby proclaim this 27th day of May 2022 as Poppy Day, and ask that all citizens pay tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom by wearing the memorial poppy on this day. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the official seal of Marysville, Kansas, this 23rd day of May 2022. And that's all I have.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
All right. 7-0.
day. Okay.
We didn't vote.
We didn't vote though, did we?
Take a vote, Jason.
Oh, I thought you did vote. See, I'm
He
just,
said 7-0 because nobody. I just believed
I'm
it.
just anxious to get out of here, I guess. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?